Hey everyone, this is JV, and I am back with another video. On this video, I'm going to be covering the Netflix movie One Land, I think it's the One Land. I was calling it Island for the longest. I thought it was I dash land, but it's actually the One Land. Um, my wife had been telling me about this movie for quite a while, and I kept putting it off. Um, I think the trailer was kind of throwing me off. It looked like I don't know, it was totally different than what the movie actually was. The trailer was different, so it did a good job on that. If you have not seen this movie series, I would highly recommend it. There's a lot of symbology uh, embedded into this movie, and there are a lot of things that are just to me they're kind of in your face. I don't know, but it really kind of resonated with me. Um, so in this video, there are going to be a ton of spoilers. So if you haven't watched it yet, I would suggest stopping the video, go watch the movie, and definitely come back and watch the video. All right. In fact, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, hit that bell, and also thumbs up the video. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed already. I appreciate you, even those who haven't subscribed. I appreciate the views. Um, it's all beneficial. Appreciate you. So now, for those of you, if you have watched the movie, I'm sure this will definitely resonate with the information that what you've seen in the movie will definitely resonate with the information I have to share here. Again, there's a lot of symbology. There are a lot of parallels, and there are probably some things that I missed. So let me know what you think in the comment section. We talk about some of the things that you've seen, some of the other symbology, what some things that may have been a little bit more hidden that I didn't catch. Okay. So the main theme in this movie deals with. Sorry, give me a minute here. I haven't gone off the cuff yet, so bear with me here. So it kind of deals with simulated reality. To me, it's like the Truman Show meets The Matrix meets Dolores Cannon meets the holographic universe, and probably some other movies that I've missed. So you'll see a lot of similarities there when you watch. So the movie starts out with a shot moving out across the water and coming towards the island. There's a young woman laying on the beach, and she has a conch shell that it's conch shells in her hand, and she finds it after she wakes up. So as she slowly starts to wake up, she starts looking around the island, and then she notices the conch shell. And it's kind of funny because she seems to instinctively start to blow it, as if she's sounding a trumpet. So after she blows the conch shell, they show a aerial view of the island. You begin to see several people that are spread out. They're about equal distances apart. We find out later in the series that they're actually about 39 steps away from each other, exactly. And I'll disclose exactly what 39 means later. It shows up several times during the movie. There is actually a symbolic meaning for 39. They're laying on the beach, seemingly unconscious. So we don't know if they're asleep, they're knocked out. We don't know what's going on. But when they wake up, they have no memory of what happened before. They don't know where they are. They don't know where they came from. Excuse me. But during their experience, they keep getting glimpses and flashbacks of, I guess, what would be their life before, but they don't really get anything that's concrete. Um, so when they wake up, they're all dressed in similar uniforms. Um, Little minor differences in the uniforms, different style patterns, but for the most part, they're all wearing basically the same uniform. And interestingly, their shirts, and the young lady kind of intuitively figures it out. She says, "Well, look at the name tags on the shirt." And when they look at the name tags on their shirts, they find out that they all have specific names on the names tag. So they kind of assume that this is their name, and we find out later that these names were they for some they are their names. Some of them were even given names. So uh, it's all part of the island's program. All right. So this island is not real. This island is a simulation, and everyone there is being projected consciously into this simulation. The island is programmable, and the environment can be influenced. So now, where have we heard that before? It's very similar to what many believe that we live in right now, a simulation, that we are not here, that we are consciously projected here, and that our consciousness is focused here, but the real us exists somewhere else. And that's the basic premise of this movie. Let's see. So as it turns out, they're actually death row prisoners. They're death row inmates. Again, they don't know, while they're on the island, they do not know that they are prisoners. They have no knowledge of where they are. They don't know what they did or why they're on the island. So everyone on the island has committed murder of varying degrees. They're being projected consciously into this simulation as an experiment. The experiment is part of a government-funded pilot program that was designed to study how the prisoners would fare if they had a second chance or a do-over. So it was intended to be a chance for death row prisoners to redeem themselves, to kind of get back into society. So they're given a do-over. Again, sounds very familiar. As we find out later, they are all in a medically induced coma. They're in medically induced comas in a laboratory on the prison campus. So going to the island is something that each of the prisoners agreed to do. They even sign a waiver or a contract to participate when they entered the program. Again, sounds very familiar. Sounds very familiar. Similar to a soul contract. Again, it's a do-over. It's another chance to get it right. It's another chance to correct a wrong. So, since their crime was murder, there are some stipulations on it. The island has stipulations. Since their crime is murder, if they kill on the island, they are killed. They're killed by the island. They're killed by someone on the island. If they go back to their old ways, they're killed. So again, sounds very similar, very karmic based. In addition, if they die in the simulation, they die in real life. So if they die for any reason on the island, then their body perishes as well. They perish in the prison. And they kind of give an explanation for that. They say that it's believed to be the shock of them seeing themselves die that causes them to expire. So there's no way for them to get off the island. They could swim, but there's sharks in the ocean. In fact, one of the prisoners is mauled by a shark while he's swimming. So and they made they made a few attempts to try to get off the island, but they eventually ended up right back on the island. So in fact, in addition, since the environment can be manipulated, any number of things could actually occur. They can pretty much throw whatever they want into the mix. Again, the simulation is programmable, so whatever code they can program, they can put into the simulation, and they can bring you right back where you started from. So it's kind of difficult, almost virtually impossible for the participants to get off the island. We also find out later that they cannot leave the island without permission. And from what I've seen, the only way for them to get off the island is if they are consciously pulled from the island and pulled out of the simulation and pulled back into their consciousness, bring their consciousness back into their body. So we have Gabriella Chase. She's played by Natalie Martinez. She's the lead character. She was the one who blew the conch shell at the beginning of the movie. So she's the one that kind of wakes everyone up. Again, a little symbolic. She's the focal point because she ends up waking up from the dream, basically. So she's actually the first person to ever wake up from the dream in the simulation. No. It turns out that she's in fact innocent of the crime that she's accused of. So she was mistakenly put on death row. Now Gabriella is conscious, but her consciousness is not appreciated. It's usually, as we know in this life, consciousness is not appreciated. Common sense is not appreciated. So it kind of puts her on the outs with the other participants on the island. Most of them are content to stay ignorant. They don't want to, they're just trying to figure out their purpose on the island, within the island. And she's like, hey, it's something else. It's something greater. Like, how do we get here? How do we get off this island? She has military combat training, and so she can definitely handle herself. And you'll see that several times within the movie when others get out of line. She has to use that training, but they end up ganging up on her when one of her island mates that she had beef with turns up dead. So this kind of brings them to a transition point. It's really a transition point for her, but it's also for the rest of the island participants. So Gabriella ends up waking up from her medically induced coma. She actually took a blow to the head, and this is what kind of, so I don't know, I can't remember if they pulled her from the island or if the blow woke her up. I'm not really sure, but she ends up waking up. And again, she was the most conscious on the island. So there is a warden over the prison that she's in, that they're all housed in. And when Gabriella wakes up, the warden lets her know that she was indeed in a simulation, along with the rest of the inmates. So he tells her that she was there in her mind, and that the island and all of its attributes are simply a program. They're giving you a lot here. They're giving you a lot to work with. I mean, it's, I don't know. It's almost, it's one of those things where it's, how much clearer can they make it, So Gabriella, she insists that her island experience is real and that she felt like she was really there. Just like we feel that we're here. We feel that we're really here. And, science has proven that, matter is mostly empty space. So we say we're real. The warden doesn't deny that it didn't feel real or that she couldn't feel pain, but he's adamant that it's only a simulation. It's only a simulation. So now they want to send Gabriella back into the simulation. Before she goes back in, she attempts to escape. There's a number of things that happens. tries to get out. They're giving her the runaround, and she doesn't really want to go back into this simulation, but she discovers the other bodies of her fellow inmates. So she kind of gets a more extensive view of exactly what it is that the program that they're running. So they're all in these lit pods. They're surrounded by some kind of solution, and they're all hooked up to wires. The scene reminds me a lot of The Matrix, when Neo wakes up from his dream and unplugs. Very similar. It also appeared to me that they're kind of laying in the same manner that they are when they wake up on the island. So it all kind of seemed like on the island when they woke up, it seemed like they were all kind of in a row, but in the prison they're kind of stacked up. They're not stacked up, but they're kind of lined up in the pods. I think they're lined up in even rows. So they end up sending Gabriella back into the program, and when she goes back in, she picks up right where she left off when she left the island. And she picks up as if she never left. So to her, she was gone for what it felt like days. But on the island, and to the other participants, she was only out for a matter of minutes. I think they said it was about 10 minutes. So we got 10 there. So the simulation, as we can see, it transcends time from the participant's perspective. So consciously, they can send the participant back at any point in time and at a specific age, which I'll explain later. So, give me 1 second here. All right, so they send Gabriella back in, and now she's lucid. She's fully awake. She's awake in the dream. She's got this information about what the island is, and she's trying to wake everybody up. That is her job in this movie, to bring consciousness to the island, to wake everyone up. Again, she's innocent of her crime. So she tries to explain to everyone about the island. But as usual, nobody's trying to hear what she has to say. She tries to make them understand they are in a prison. Sound familiar? It does to me. They're in a prism. And they actually are. They were in a pod of light, a prism of light. All right, but they're being projected into the simulation. There are government-sponsored officials that are monitoring the program. So this program is being monitored, it's being watched. Truman Show. Sound like the Truman Show to me. Someone's watching. They're affecting the environment. Everything is programmable. They're giving you conditions and your experience is being guided, it's being affected, and that's what they experience there. Now, the officials that are monitoring the program, they have a hunch that the program is being compromised, but they don't have any proof. One of the officials befriends Gabriella to kind of gain her trust. They are watching her closely to kind of see what happens with her in her experience. So they're monitoring everything. Gabriella went before the council actually after she woke up. They reviewed her experience on the island. And this kind of reminds me of what Dolores Cannon talks about when she did a session on life after death. It was a life after death lecture, and she talked about how after one dies, after the spirit leaves the body, it goes before a council, and you review how you performed in your recent life. So there are a lot of similarities there. And it's definitely worth checking out Dolores Cannon's video on that. I believe it's called Life After Death. All right. Fourth episode, in the fourth episode, so they re-enter Chase back into the program. And after they do that, there are two other people that show up on the island. This is interesting because it's a big island, so there's a possibility there were people on the other part of the island that they hadn't come across. But to this point, they hadn't come across anyone. So there's really no way on or off the island, but these two people show up. They claim that they were on the other side of the island and that they've been venturing out daily. And I recall at one point, it seemed like they switched up their story and say that they've actually been there for quite some time. So they everyone on the island is kind of seeing there's something shady about these two. So kind of proceeding with caution with them. So these participants, these new people that show up on the island, they are actually marshals that have gone rogue, and they refer to themselves as Bonnie and Clyde. Now, after the marshals show up, they actually turn on the inmates, and they start asking about items that Gabriella had found but was hiding. Gabriella had found actually a few different things. She had found a briefcase, she had found a raft, she had found some supplies in the raft. Actually, I think the briefcase was in the raft as well. So she was she's kind of fending for herself. She didn't really trust everybody on the island, so she's trying to make sure her position is secure. So she's got that survivor mentality, so she's going to make sure that she's good. But she does eventually end up sharing some of the things that she finds with some of the other island participants to kind of help them, give them some shelter. I think she let them know about the raft, so they were able to have shelter when it's raining and whatnot. So she's still looking out for others on the island. So the rogue marshals, they were sent in by the warden, again, to compromise the trials. So they're there to kind of affect change, and not in a positive way. They claim to have authority to kill prisoners. And if they kill other prisoners they have the authority to kill prisoners if those prisoners kill someone else on the island. So they're there to exact justice, if you will, for those that have that commit murder, which is what got them on the island in the first place. They mentioned to the prisoners that if they do something wrong, the island pays them back, but they actually take justice into their own hands, actually. And it's kind of funny, on one of the young ladies they show her in the previous life killing one of the marshals, and they really left us hanging there because they didn't develop that part of the story very well or at all. But the marshal does end up killing her, so they kind of just left it at that. Let's see, where am I at here? So, again, eye for an eye. This sounds very karmic based. Life for a life, eye for an eye. But they are, in fact, the ones doing the killing. And in addition to the island program, the island will take you out anyway. But from what I've seen, most of the killing has been done at the hands of someone else on the island. But the marshals tell them that there are glitches and blind spots. Yeah, can't talk today. There are glitches and blind spots in the program, and they allow them to do what they do. So they can kind of move around the island freely, undetected. They're kind of out of sight. They're kind of immune. So they feel that they can do whatever they want to do, or they can do whatever they're big enough to do on the island. And they also let them know that they're faster, they're stronger, and they know more than the prisoners do. So they really hit them with a good psych job. Let them know that hey, we got you. Don't even try to fight. You're already defeated. So they're playing these mind games, and they start to they tell them that they'll start to remember things from their life before. And they'll tell us, they'll say, hey, you're going to remember these things, you're not even going to be able to live with yourself. So they're just taunting them with it because they know what the prisoners did, even though they don't know. So the reason why the prisoners don't remember what they did is because when they come into the program, their memories are wiped. But when the marshals enter the program this time, their wipes have been reversed. So they're going to start to slowly remember exactly what they did in life before. So they eventually start gaining more of their memories, and they're kind of forced to deal with their shortcomings. And so it's, anyone, when you're held accountable, it's not an easy thing, especially the memories. I think the memories, because it's one thing about the mind. Whenever you relive something, it's like you actually relive something when you relive it in your mind. So they're being these memories are being replayed, and they're having to go back and deal with them, with what they've done. So the prisoners keep finding different clues on the island. One of the items that Chase finds is a gun. The gun was placed on the island through a hacked code. This is the same code that enables the marshals to kind of move around the island freely. The gun was put there to test them, to see what they would do if they found it. Now, Chase also finds, again, she finds the medical supplies, she finds a raft, a shelter. She had a knife, that she pretty much kept throughout the movie. So the marshals know that Chase has the gun because they've been watching her. The gun was in a locked briefcase that she found. And she was able to gain access to the briefcase from an electrical key that she actually found in a conch shell that she was blowing on. So that doesn't sound right. Anyway, so after another series of events, Chase's husband Cooper, who was another prisoner on the island, he remembers exactly what happened to land them both in there. He accidentally killed Chase's mother, and they actually were both accused of the crime of murder for killing her mother. It was actually accidental. So after this revelation, there were a few other things that happened, but ultimately after this revelation, Chase is pulled from the island again. She's pulled again from the simulation. So because of Cooper's confession, Chase is exonerated of her crime, and so she's found innocent officially. So she's brought in front of the committee again to kind of debrief before she's released back into society. Because of her innocence, they kind of flip the script a little bit. They give her an opportunity to ask them questions. Normally, they're asking the participants questions about their island experience, but since Chase is innocent, they want to get some feedback from her to kind of see what her island experience was, and they're looking for ways to improve the program. So they ask her about the island. Chase is just like, I'm ready to go. I can't think of anything. I'm ready to get out of here. So she can't really think of anything significant to ask. So one of the committee members, one of the head chairs, asked her if she figured out what the significance of the 39 was. He says that he felt that there was an esoteric clue. So, esoteric meaning kind of a select few know. It's kind of a hidden meaning. So I thought it was kind of interesting that he would use the word esoteric. He said he always wondered if the participants in the simulation were able to kind of make that correlation between the clues that they were given on the island and their actual life experience. So what does the 39 mean? 39 actually equals the amount of steps from their cell block on death row to their electric chair, or to the electric chair. So it's 39 steps from their cell block to the electric chair. So now if you do the math, again, do a little gematria, talking about 39, we come up with 3. 3 represents Trinity, represents equilibrium, represents ascended masters. again, the information. Not really sure what they were trying to convey from that 39 number. Um, could be that they were getting help. Could be that they're given allowed a chance to come back into society. Maybe that could be what the equilibrium could mean. I don't know. Just my interpretation. Um, but I will say that Gabriella was in fact getting help because they were monitoring her during her experience, and they were. She had at least one that was pushing for her to make it through. Um, so at one point, Gabriella finds a sign on the island. It says, I think it says, "Find your way back." Um, One of the officials tells her that the journey is not just about the physical. So I took that to mean that there was something intangible that Gabriella was supposed to, and the rest of the inmates were supposed to gain from this experience. Um, she is told to stay on her path and find her way back. Metaphorically, they were all finding their way back into society, because that was the purpose, that was the main aim of the program, for them to re-enter society and be given a second chance. So consciously, they needed to make better decisions this time around, and they were given different scenarios that would cause them to be in a similar situation that they were in before. So basically a test, again, sounds very, very similar to what we've heard before. This whole karma thing, this do-over, another chance. Maybe in reality, we're all trying to find our way back, right? We're trying to find our way back to source. We're trying to find our way back to higher self, or whatever it is, trying to find our way home. That's what we're all striving for spiritually. It doesn't matter whatever you believe spiritually. You're on a path somewhere. You're going somewhere. All right. So as it turns out, Gabriella finds out that the image that she sees as herself is actually an avatar. And the way she looks in the simulation is not the way she looks in real life. She's actually older than the avatar in the simulation. And it's actually kind of traumatic when she finds out, Again, to me, like I says, it's kind of funny. This school of thought that, we were to know the truth of who we are, and that we are actually older. And to think about it, you would be older than this avatar if you have done this, if your soul is not here, which is a school of thought, and your avatar is being projected here, your soul is older than this avatar that is here. So again, it's all for analysis. All right. Let's see. So she went into the simulation at the same age that she allegedly committed the crime. So she was young when this happened. Actually, her and Cooper. She went into this. Let me see. In fact, all of them did. So when she finds out that she's been on death row for several years, it's a major shock. I guess it would be a shock for anyone to find out that they're in prison. They've been in this simulation because it seems real. But anyway, it's a shock. So after they unplug her, it took some time for her to see herself the way she truly is. So after she was unplugged, she was able to see the truth of what she really was. After she unplugged from that matrix, from that simulation, she was able to see the truth of what she really is. All right. And it's kind of interesting when they unplugged her, I believe it was the left ear, back of the head. They used the device and they pulled something out, and she was able to It was basically them unplugging her from that program. So after that, she was able to truly see herself. Um, so at the end of the movie, they show Gabriella walking out of the prison and through the crossroads. Um, the crossroads spiritually represents where the natural world and the spirit realm meet. And ironically, she had just made the transition from that spirit realm where she was conscious in her mind of a specific reality. She was there consciously, and now she's coming back to live in the natural realm. So she's embarking on a new life in a new world that she has no clue about. Everything's changed dramatically since she went into prison several years ago. I think it was 25 years ago. I think it was 25 years ago, and we got 7 out of that. So the warden is found guilty of tampering with the test trials. Ironically, his punishment, he is sent to the island to fend for himself on the island. So now he's a prisoner on the island. When he gets there, and actually the series ends there. We really don't even know what else happens after that. He's met by Casey and Gabriella's husband, Cooper. And Casey tells him, "Welcome to One Land." And that's it. That's where the series ends. There will not be a second series. From what I researched, this movie was basically meant to be a one-time miniseries, so it was never intended to be a full miniseries. And a lot of movies leave you hanging anyway, so I don't really feel too bad about this. They really kind of give you enough to work with. I think there was enough within the series to kind of develop exactly where they were going with this. And for my purpose, they gave me more than enough to see where they were going with this. So symbolically, they were in a simulation. They thought they were there, but they were not there. They were somewhere else. They were being projected into a simulation, into a simulated reality, that is controlled by someone else, a higher power and authority, who had them locked in a prison. The real them, the real inmates, the real people, were locked in a prison and being projected consciously through this program as a way for them to, quote unquote, have a second chance back into society. So that's my analysis of it. I think it's good for study. Take it for what it's worth. I found it interesting. It was an interesting movie. There's actually another movie that kind of deals with this, and then I think they've got a new reality show coming out. I forgot what it's called, where they're kind of dealing with a simulated reality, but it's a life after death kind of deal. So they're really putting a lot of information out about this. So I think it'll be really good for study. I'm going to I got to go back and review this other movie. Planning on doing another review of that one. It's another simulated reality thriller, I guess you would say. So we'll see what this thing is. I'm gonna keep studying it. Doing more studying on the holographic universe, quantum reality. Got to discover what this thing is. We got to look at it, see exactly what we're living in, see what this matrix is about, and see how we can make sure that we're winning in it. So again, family, thank you. I appreciate your support. I appreciate the likes, the subscribes. Stay tuned. Definitely got more content. There's more to come. Until next time, y'all. Stay safe. Take care.